Hi folks, welcome to the first video on the Sorare Contender YouTube channel. My name is Mark. Some of you will recognize me and know me better as FPL General. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, moving away from the world of FPL and dipping my toe into some Sorare content. Haven't really done much YouTube stuff previously. It's a bit odd just talking to yourself in the laptop, so bear with me with these first few videos and I'm sure things will improve as time goes on. So just an introductory video, going to talk you through kind of my background with Sorare, how long I've been playing, what my plans are for the future, and we'll go through the gallery to see how it is shaping up ahead of the changes that are kicking in at the end of March. So I've got a few notes here in front of me, so that's why I'll be looking up from time to time. Just a brief history, as you can see there, joined the platform in October 2022, as did many FPL content creators. It was around the time of the World Cup, just beforehand. Of course, you'll remember the Global Cup on Sorare. A lot of FPL managers, jumped in for a while, played the Global Cup, and then disappeared. But I was bitten by the Sorare bug, and I stuck around during that first half of 2023. Then I was playing around with limited cards and enjoyed it, mainly coming from a background of I've been living in Scotland for almost 9 years now, so my focus has been very much on the Scottish Premiership players up until recently. A lot of advice I got from podcasts and stuff on Sorare was stick to what you know. So that's what I did. Even though my background is Premier League, I like keeping the FPL stuff and the Sorare stuff separate. I don't like having conflict of interest. Having one player in FPL, another player in Sorare, and kind of hedging bets and stuff like that. So I don't have any Premier League players in my gallery, and I have no plans to go there either. I'm very much thinking about staying in the contender division, at least to begin with. Just on the contender name as well, I was FPL General. I was going to call this channel Sorare General just to kind of keep it on brand, but I like the Sorare Contender name because I've been more of a pretender really up until this point in Sorare. I haven't been contending as such at the top of leaderboards, but the plan now is for that to change. I want to be a Sorare contender and I'm going to be playing in the contenders division. So that is the reason for the name on the channel. So yeah, back to what I was saying. I was very much a limited manager in the first half of 2023. Then my first child arrived in March 2023. So when it got to the end of the season last June, I actually sold everything. Needed the funds for real life stuff. Sold the gallery, and then when this current European season started, I basically started kind of topping up monthly, a few bob here and there, and started building the gallery towards this stage of the season. Taking a drink here. I'm battling with illness, so this is a struggle. So then, yeah, so 2023, August 2023, the start of this current season was when I started again going down the rare route more so with Scottish Premiership cards. And like I said, just been topping up, chipping away month by month and building the gallery slowly. And now I feel like it's in a good position to compete in the new contenders division. So what else do I need to mention? Yeah, I mentioned Scottish Premiership focus only. So I've moved away from that now. I think if I was to focus just on Scottish Premiership players, I would be limiting myself in terms of trying to win things on Sorare. So I like the changes that are coming because it's forcing me to move away from just Scottish Premiership players and look at the Croatian leagues, the Austrian leagues, the K League, the J League, and it's been really exciting for the last couple of weeks actually going scouting in those leagues that I don't know anything about. It's given me similar vibes to when I used to play Championship Manager, Football Manager back when I was a teenager. So I've really enjoyed the scouting process. I've already picked up a few players which we'll talk about very soon. So yeah, very much looking forward to the changes. The like I said, contenders focus. I've got a Celtic season ticket. It's not my season ticket, but I have a loan of one, and I do get to most home Celtic matches. But I don't just go as a Celtic fan. I go with my Sorare goggles on, and I'm keeping an eye on opposition players as well, and trying to pick out the talisman from those teams for my Sorare gallery. So over the last 8 or 9 years, I have picked up a good knowledge of the Scottish game, and you'll see that my gallery is very much the core of the gallery is built around that. But recently, have sold a lot of lower value Scottish Premiership players and have invested that in bigger hitters from other leagues. The focus will be on rare, but I have this week, I've got 5 limited cards at the moment. We'll just jump into the gallery. Picked up 5 limited cards this week with the basically just I'm going to focus on rare. I've got 72 rare cards and I've got 5 limiteds. Just until the end of this season, I've picked up a limited Celtic stack, more so just to feel out the limited division and see if it's something I want to play next season. So just going to put one team into the in-season contenders. So picked up Joe Hart, Matt O'Reilly, Kyogo Iwata, and Carter Vickers. And of course, we're allowed one old season card, so that's why I've got an old season Carter Vickers in there. Joe Hart obviously retiring at the end of the season, but £4.55. I won't lose any sleep over that if I can't get it back. So I'll play that limited team in the contenders in season for the rest of this season. We'll see how that goes, and that will determine whether or not I buy limited cards at the start of next season. But let's get into the rares, which is going to be the primary focus. I have this sorted by highest average score. So the loose strategy is for the rest of this season, because I have enough cards, I'm going to play the maximum amount of teams in contender. So I'll have 3 in-season teams, and I will have 3 classic teams as well. And then the plan longer term, I think when I get to July, August time, the plan is probably to downsize the gallery a bit, or else just sell quite a few cards and buy better ones, streamline it, and then just focus on the classic side of the game. I don't really see myself putting loads of cash in to buy new in-season cards in August. So I'm going to focus, at least to begin with, on having 3 strong classic contender entries. So we will try and smash it with 6 teams for the rest of this season. And of course, there's a few other competitions that can be played as well, like the cap modes that are still around for a wee bit longer. But again, when we get to the new format in August, it's going to be 3 classic teams, and try and win those in-season cards, and then maybe start to build some in-season teams as well. But certainly early thoughts are, don't really want to be putting too much more money into the platform. I think I've got a good base to start building from now. So for me, it's going to be more about winning cards than buying new in-season ones. So what I'll do is I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to the gallery, the cards that are here. I will then jump over and show you a watch list that I've got of players that I'm interested in buying soon, and I'll briefly show you my collections as well, which I think is an important part of the game. I'm trying to get to 2% collection bonus on most of my key cards, and the Celtic cards that I have that are currently in season, I've got quite a few of those. So I'm looking to get to 3% collection bonus on my current in-season Celtic cards for next season. Of course, a lot of those I need to not list them for 90 days over the break to make sure I've got that bonus in place come August time. So this is the gallery. There's 72 red cards sorted by highest average score. So I'll just skim through this to give you an idea of what I am starting off with. I picked up a Sho Sasaki recently, obviously a big favourite of Sorare managers who've been on this platform for a long time. And the good thing for me at the moment is, I've been on the platform for about 2 years, and I thought players like Sho Sasaki would never be reachable for me because of their prices previously. But because a lot of people are not interested in contenders and a lot of people are not interested in classic contender cards, you can pick up very good scorers for reasonable prices compared to what they were previously. So players like Sho Sasaki, I never thought would be in the gallery, but they are now. And what I should show you here is if I go to, I've been running an Asian stack recently. So 3 players from Sanfrecce. I've got Sho Sasaki. I picked up Shiotani as well. And the striker recently, Soteriu, who scored, picked him up after he scored, and then he blanked in the next game. And making up that stack is the FC Seoul guys, Ki Sung Young, ex Premier League, ex Celtic. So I know what I'm doing with him. He's a good scorer on the platform. And the Seoul goalkeeper managed to pick him up cheap recently. He's been playing, and hopefully he keeps his place. Did a bit of research, and it looks like there's a chance he will keep his place. So that's the Asian boys. They've been playing in Champion Asia recently, but obviously they can mix in with all my other cards in the Contenders region. Back to the big guns. Picked up a Moritz Kjaergaard from Salzburg just a couple of days ago. Managed to pick him up for a very good price, in my opinion, on auction. I think it was one of those during the night auctions. I just set a max bid and hope for the best. Recently been going for, £120, £113. Managed to get him for 54. So again, hopefully he's going to be a big part of the rest of this season and for the future in the gallery. Part of my thinking here with players like Kjaergaard, he is under 23. I don't have too many under 23 players. I've got a Matt O'Reilly and I've got a couple of others. I am considering, I've said I'm going to play, 3 in season and 3 classic for the rest of this season, but I'm also interested in maybe one under 23 lineup, more so for next season. So someone like a Kjaergaard could be quite useful for that. I'll scroll through this a bit quicker. I picked up a Lewis Holtby just yesterday. I had an old season. I picked up an old season card about a month ago, sold it a few days ago, and managed to pick up an in-season for cheaper than what I paid for the old one. Holtby was the first non-Scottish Premiership rare card I bought. And the main reason, when I was doing my research, I realised that myself and Lewis Holtby came into the world on the same day. We have the exact same birthday in the same year. So I felt it was meant to be that he joins the gallery. And he's obviously a good scorer as well. So he is one that will hopefully be pretty useful. You'll see quite a few Celtic cards here. Greg Taylor, Matt O'Reilly. Again, Matt O'Reilly, one of my favourite players, one of the best players on the platform in recent times, maybe not so much in recent months. But again, a player I never thought I'd be able to own because of his price previously, but he's dropped significantly. Managed to pick him up for about £118. Again, I just deal with pounds. I don't go down the Ethereum route. I've always just kind of done it in pounds. So you can see it there anyway in Ethereum, what I paid for these players. Matt O'Reilly, great for the rest of this season, for in-season. If he does get a big move, which I expect him to, again, it'll probably be out of the Contenders division. But again, you're hoping that you get a bit of a boost on his price then if you need to sell him. So, quite happy just to see where his career goes. Elsewhere there, picked up in Andrade recently, who's a very good scorer on the platform. I was just a little bit short of defenders. Shankland I've had for a wee while, having a fantastic season. Very, very reliable in terms of scores, and is a player who could get a big move this summer as well. He could stay in the Scottish Premiership even with that move, which would be ideal for my gallery. Although won't be ideal if he ends up playing for the big Celtic rivals. But again, in an ideal world, he goes to Celtic, and then I can be happy owning him. Blair Spittle has been a very good performer for me in recent times. I've seen some news this evening that he may have signed a pre-contract with Hearts. So again, that's good. He's going to be staying in Contenders. He'll be staying in the gallery. Scrolling down here a bit further, a few more Celtic boys. Carter Vickers, again, a very expensive player previously, but managed to pick him up at a decent price. Just need him to put his fitness problems behind him. Picked up Frankie Kent recently because I've also got Xander Clark, the Hearts goalkeeper, so a bit of a Hearts defensive stack there. McGregor, Petrovic I picked up. Again, that's me venturing out of my comfort zone and picking up a few bangers from other leagues. Dynamo Zagreb, most recent score in the 88 at the weekend, so hopefully he's going to be a big player in the gallery. Yesterday, I was looking at the gallery and I only had 5 starting goalkeepers, so I needed to pick up a 6th one for this end of season period. Again, taking a bit of a risk on Johnny Placide. What a great name that is. He's pushing on in age. He's also got an injury at the moment. He missed the most recent game, but I'm hoping it's nothing major and he comes back and plays for the rest of this season. He's also relegation threatened, I'm pretty sure, at Bastia. But again, price wise, £34, I thought it was a gamble worth taking. I was looking at, instead of buying him, I was going to get a Joe Hart for the rest of the season, around the same price, but then he's a definitely, dead card at the end of the season. I was looking at David Marshall as well at Hibs, but there's no guarantee that he, plays again next season. So taking a little gamble on Johnny Placide, so we'll see how that one works out. Elsewhere, you'll start to see some collection pieces in here as well. I'll show you collections in a second. So players like Aaron Moy, who are no longer playing football, are in there for the collection bonus. Xander Clark's here. Luke McCowan, very good player at Dundee. Salinger, a goalkeeper I picked up from the Austrian Bundesliga. Hasn't scored very well since I got him. Been a bit of a disaster, but again, hopefully will be decent long term. Kevin Van Veen, funny story about Kevin Van Veen. My wife's hairdresser is Kevin Van Veen's partner, so I knew they were having a child, and I think it was well documented that once the kid arrived, he was probably going to want to come back to Scotland. I don't think things were going great for him. Was it the Netherlands he was in anyway? So when the baby arrived, I picked up 5 rare Van Veens. I think I paid about 20 quid for each card. So I spent about 100 quid on Kevin Van Veens. And then when he made me sweat until the deadline day. He came back to Scotland. His card jumped up a bit in price. So I sold 4 of them. Doubled my money on all 4 and kept 1. And I'm hoping end of the season, and if not into next season, he will be a useful card. Danny Armstrong, Kilmarnock, one of my favourite players in the Scottish Premiership. A very good scorer. Not every week, but he can put up good scores. Set pieces, penalties, great left foot, and I just feel like he's an underpriced player on the platform. The most recent sale, £6.90. Just a very useful piece to have in the gallery. Nicholas Kuhn, another Celtic player who has had a difficult start to his Celtic career, but was very good in the game against St Johnstone, scoring 96. So I think he could cement his place on the right wing for Celtic. Looks a very good player. Scrolling down, Miovski's in there. Very good striker at Aberdeen. Could get a move in the summer. Elsewhere, Vargas, a young player who I like a lot at Hearts as well. Again, very cheap at the moment. A lot of potential there, I feel, particularly if Shankland leaves. He could become a big player. Picked up Jan Danda, another very good player, for about £4 recently. He's going to Hearts next year as well. So, again, that value is going to shoot up and he could be a much better scorer there. A couple of cheaper Celtic guys filling out the gallery. Kyogo, my favourite player, and I think he might be my most expensive purchase on Sorare. I think it was about £170 at the time. How long ago was that? About 4 months ago. Kyogo joined the gallery and will never leave the gallery. He was very good at the weekend. Looked back to his best, so hopefully those scores improve. And I have this thing in my head where this should keep me on the straight and narrow with Sorare in terms of discipline and player prices and stuff. My favourite player is Kyogo, and he's my most expensive purchase, and I would like to keep it like that. So I'm going to try not pay more than £170 for any card in the future. So we'll see if I can stick to that strategy. It's going to take a lot of discipline, but again, the way things are in contenders at the moment, I don't think you need to spend any more than that to be competitive. Mitov is a very good goalkeeper at St Johnstone. Relegation's threatened, but I would expect him to get a move if that did happen. He can score well. Not so good recently, but I've got faith in him long term. Laidlaw was a bit of a disaster. Picked him up as a cap 240 goalkeeper. Paid a fair whack for him. And then Derek Adams came in at Ross County, brought in a new goalkeeper, turned the club upside down, and turned Laidlaw into a substitute goalkeeper. Now, unfortunately for Laidlaw owners like myself, Wickens, who's come in, has been phenomenal. Unbelievable young goalkeeper on loan from Fulham. But I'm hoping again Wickens will leave in the summer, go back to his parent club, and hopefully Laidlaw either becomes Ross County number one again next season, or goes to another Premiership club, which I think is possible as well. So Laidlaw, when you pay a good chunk for a goalkeeper, when they lose their place, there's no point selling them for 20 quid or 30 quid. You're just play the long game, and hopefully Laidlaw becomes an option for me again next season. Elsewhere, who else is here worth mentioning? Again, goalkeepers are very cheap at the moment. Picked up Kellarus for about 35 quid. Yeah, a couple of days ago. Aberdeen have some good fixtures coming up. He is out of contract, so we don't know what's going to happen there. But again, goalkeeper worth taking a gamble on. He'll either stay at Aberdeen or hopefully stay within the Contenders division. Picked up a one-of Yang recently. I think he only cost me about 10 quid. Yeah, 10.87 a month ago, and he's been playing very well since, before he got the unfortunate suspension, although he does have Kuhn to compete with now. Elsewhere here, mostly collection pieces. Oda is a collection piece to go along with my Kyogo. Oda plays for Hearts though, and I really like him. I think he could have a big future. So Oda, a collection piece for now, but could become a usable asset in the future. Elsewhere, who else is here? Literally before I start recording, I just picked up a James Penrith. Again, there's a bit of a theme here. I'm picking up a lot of Hearts players. Penrith has signed a pre-contract with Hearts as well. He's been a very good player, left back at Livingston. Picked him up for about 3 or 4 quid. Depending on what happens with Cochrane at Hearts, if Penrith becomes number one, if Cochrane moves on, Penrith could be a very good, useful defender on Sorare next season. The Duke has had a very disappointing season at Aberdeen. He's not been used much by various managers, but there's no doubt there's talent there. And I picked up his in-season card for very cheap recently, £7.47. So long term, that will pay itself back and more. And ideally, he stays in the Contenders division, whether it's at Aberdeen or somebody else next season. Got a James Forrest here from each season just for collection reasons. I've been sitting on a Rio Hatate for quite a while through his injury, expecting to come back and walk back into the team and be a big part in the title run-in. Picked up an Odin Home for 6 quid yesterday. Very, very cheap. A 20-year-old with a lot of talent. Could have that card for, 10 years. And yeah, then we're getting towards the bottom here. Just collection pieces. Danilo plays for Rangers. Danilo's one of them where I picked him up 4 or 5 months ago when prices were a lot higher. I think I paid about £99 for him when he was playing and he was scoring goals, and then he picked up quite a few injuries. I ended up selling that card, but I've picked him up recently for 12 quid, and I'm hoping to, it's not probably an optimal way to play the game, but try and make up some of that money that I lost on the previous card. But not just that, I think when he's back, he could be Rangers' number one striker next season. And as much as it pains me as a Celtic fan, you've got to put your biases aside when you're playing fantasy sports and things like Sorare. And if I can get a £12 striker who bangs in the goals in the Scottish Premiership and can get me points and get me rewards, then I will take that all day long. Craig Gordon, I took a gamble on him when he was coming back from injury. I thought he might go back in as number one, as a lot of Hearts fans did. And I've ended up just sitting on him. And I got to the point where I didn't know what to do with Craig Gordon. I was trying to sell him, and then I said, you know what, I'll just buy Xander Clark. And I've got guaranteed Hearts goalkeeper, whatever happens. And picked up Craig Gordon on auction, so he is decent for the collection bonus. So before I wrap up, I will just show you a watch list that I've got here. Hopefully this recording comes out okay. So on the screen, you should be able to see a very loose plan of what I'm going to do for the rest of this season. So you'll see there I've got 3 in-season lineups and 3 classics. The underlined players in italics at the top, they are old season cards, so you can have 1 old season in each in-season lineup. This is all very confusing, I know, but all the players at the top, apart from the players underlined, are in-season cards. So you've got a lineup there of Clark, Carter-Vickers, Taylor, O'Reilly, and Kyogo. And obviously these are just loose ideas. These pieces can be moved around in the jigsaw, but it's just to give me a picture of what I have and what I need before next week. Apologies for the cough, folks. I've been ill for a few weeks. and doing this is very, very challenging. The classic cards there, you'll see one of them is the Asian lineup, and again, those players can be mixed and matched with other players. The third classic lineup is yet to be completed, so I picked up Placide, and I'm hoping that he comes back and plays. And I need to probably pick up maybe a defender for that lineup and another forward. Just below that, then I've got a few extra pieces in the gallery that might be usable. So McGregor and Hatate are in my depth list at the moment because they're both nursing injuries and may not be available straight away for the next game week. Yang's in there as well, but again, he's got a bit of competition now. Clarkson doesn't always start for Aberdeen, but he did start under Peter Leven in the most recent game, so I'm hoping that continues and he can be usable for the rest of the campaign. And then the forwards, I'm a bit light on forwards. I've got Duke, who doesn't always start. Kevin Van Veen hasn't broken into the Kilmarnock team yet because Vassell and Watkins have been pretty good. And then Danilo is still injured. So a few more pieces to pick up before next week. I also keep a watch list here as well, just players I'm interested in buying. So earlier I was talking about possibly building an under 23 team. I've got Matt O'Reilly, I've got Kjaergaard from Salzburg. I've got a couple of other guys like Vargas at Hearts that are usable. I'd probably need to pick up an under 23 defender. And I've got my eye on the Rosenborg goalkeeper Tangvik as well. I was trying to get him last week, got priced out a few times on auctions and stuff like that, and his price has gone up a bit now, so I don't want to pay more than I planned for him, so I might just be patient with that one. I think Tangvik is suspended for the first game of the season, so I'm hoping he might take a bit of a price drop when that happens, and maybe nab him before the second game of the season. Defenders on the watch list: Alistair Johnson at Celtic. I did have him and I sold him. I sold him for the same price I bought him for when he got the head injury a couple of months ago now maybe, and picked up a Ralston at the time and just used him instead. But Johnson was having a pretty poor season, but he's been much better in recent games, so I want to go back and get him at some point. Piovi, I think, plays in Argentina, a good scorer. Umar Soleil at Salzburg, and his teammate Pavlovic. Pavlovic could be the under 23 defender for my jigsaw for next season, but again, would like his price to come down a wee bit. Suzuki has started the season well in Asia. Midfielders, again, Savio Wendell, Wakizaka, Bin Garam, Araki, and Joe Newell. Players, there's 5 players there I never heard of about a month ago. That's the beauty of Sorare. Now I know everything about them and what they do with their time off. So Araki, I picked up an Iraqi a couple of weeks ago. Did a bit of research. Very good player a couple of years ago. I think Young Player of the Year and stuff like that. Lots of injuries. Gone on loan to Tokyo, I think it is, and he started the season very well. Sold him for a bit of profit, and we'll probably pick him up again, hopefully for cheaper in the near future again as well, just to give me a little bit more depth, especially with those Asian lineups. Joe Newell at Hibs as well. Sold him recently and kind of regretted it. He's been scoring quite well. Just a very consistent, steady Eddie on the platform. And again, going to try and pick him up again as well. No forwards on the watch list, so I need to work on that because I need to pick up a few for the next few days. I'll finish up with the collections just to give you an idea what I do here. So again, I want to get as many of my key players to 2% collection bonus next season. So basically you need to have 5 players from that season, from that team. Don't list them for 90 days and you should be there with your 2% bonus. So for example, I've got Kyogo from his Vissel Kobe days, and I've got Oda Douglas for Malin and Osaki in there to make up the 2%. So you'll see there's a common theme there, like Sasaki and Shiatani, along with a striker at Sanfrecce. I've paid a couple of quid, 5 or 6 quid in total for 3 other Sanfrecce players to get the bonus to 2% for next season. The same at Motherwell, I've got Spittle, Van Veen, and then I picked up Slattery, Shields, and Blaney for pennies. And then down here a bit further, you can see the ones I'm still working on. For example, I've got an old season Callum McGregor, and I've got 3 other old seasons as well. So I've got McGregor, Moy, Forrest, and Ralston. So I need one more piece there that will allow me to get McGregor to 2% for next season. Picked up Keller Roos yesterday. Already had Clarkson. So I picked up Johnny Hayes. I think he was only £1, and picked up Stewart today for £1 or £2 as well. So one more piece needed there. And then you've got the FC Seoul guys. Not sure if I want to pick up a few more there. And then Armstrong and Shankland are just by themselves, basically, from their teams also. So there we have it. There is an introduction to the Sorare Contender Gallery. I'm very excited about the changes that Sorare are making. I've really enjoyed listening to lots and lots of Sorare content recently. You know, Sorare data most days with Lardino. What else? The Sorare Odyssey boys, Quinny. There's so much good stuff out there, and I can't get enough of it at the moment. So very much looking forward to the journey for the rest of this season and more so next season as well. And I hope you will join me on that journey. So make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel as well. I think that's what you're supposed to say on these things. And I'll probably be back next week just before everything kicks off again. Maybe build a few lineups and see what pieces I've picked up between now and then. So thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, give it a little share on social media. That's always helpful too to get the channel off the ground. And I will talk to you all again very soon.